Friends, welcome. I'm Nubs11 or Liam, and I'm here today with Jim Fyn.
Hello.
And this is going to be episode 1 of Quick Snap, which is going to be a sort of little podcast video thing talking about Blood Bowl, because Blood Bowl is a game that we love and a game that we enjoy playing. And we'll talk about a whole lot of various things, teams, tournaments, rosters, lists, whatever you name it, we'll talk about it. So just a little bit about me and my Blood Bowl experience. I've been playing Blood Bowl for, well, how many years now? How many years have you been playing?
5 maybe.
Yeah, 5. So I must have played for about 6 years, I guess, Blood Bowl. Tabletop. I've played in many tournaments, won a few, represented Victoria at the Australian State Championships twice, and was the highest placed Vic coach at both of those, just quietly. Ran the Geelong League down here for a while and now play in the MBBL. And Jim Fyn, your experiences?
Pretty similar. Probably played more games overall, but for a less period of time. There's a time that I was right into it. So I jump online a bit and play in a couple of online leagues as well, time to time.
Yeah. So today, episode 1, we're going to talk about the tournament that we just ran over the weekend in Geelong. Mayhem on Malop Street. So the format is $13.50 or $1,350,000 to spend on your team, and we have the teams or the races organised in different tiers. So you'll have tier 1 is sort of like all your wood elves, your dwarves, all those undead, sort of teams, undead, yeah, teams. All the better teams, all the quote unquote tier 1 teams. And they can take a max of 2 duplicate skills, so that aren't already on the team. So they can only take 2 block, or 2 wrestle, 2 guard, whatever else. Then we have the tier 2 teams, which are sort of your vampire. Probably the better teams in that one would be the Necro, Amazons, Humans are probably the 3 best teams in that tier. And then you got your Camrys and those sort of teams. And they can take 3 of any one skill in addition to what they already have. So 3 guard, 3 mighty blow. And then we have Stunty, which can take 5. So you can play ogres and take 5 block if you want. And yeah, so that's the format. You can't take a wizard. You can take any of the other inducements. You can't take a wizard. You can take star players. You can't take
1 star player.
Yeah, max, except for Stunty as well. They can take 2. And you can't take cards.
No.
Cards or wizards are the only 2 things you can't take. So you can play Slan, Underworld, and Chaos Pact as well. They're allowed. So how did you go at this tournament?
So I went pretty well on the day. I ended up winning the whole thing. 3 wins, 1 draw. All really tight games though. I didn't say I breezed through them all. They were all very difficult games. Yeah. And
this is the list you took?
So I played Necro. The list in front of you isn't exactly what I took.
Oh yeah, you've got 1 less
the block dodge wolf is actually a wrestle dodge wolf.
Yeah.
That was a mistake. He doesn't actually fit the format the way it is, but that was preferred. But the wrestle dodge wolf was good, having 2 of them. I might rethink the list if I did it again, but I guess it was good enough on the day, so...
Yeah. How'd you find 1 reroll? Well, 2 with leader.
More than enough.
More than enough.
Yep.
With all the skills, I suppose, you have.
I think of the 8 halves, I finished 4 of them with a reroll left, so...
Always lucky.
Pretty lucky. Pretty lucky.
Well, yeah, you can't complain with winning the tournament, I guess.
Nah, definitely. Definitely. It was the first time I played Necro. Really wanted to give him a shot. A friend suggested it to me because they thought it might be a bit of a challenge, but, I mean, they cover all bases. They've got everything. They can move well. They can hit well. They've got strength 4. They've got move 8. They regen. It's really, really,
And the regen was pivotal in our game.
Absolutely, regen for the weekend was good. I think I was maybe 7 of 8 or something stupid on the whole weekend.
And if you have that sort of level of regen results, you're probably going to win.
Yeah, probably going to win.
So I played Camry. I was the fill-in, so I wasn't always going to play. This is the roster I took here. It was decent. I mean, I finished 4th. I finished 4th on tiebreakers. 4th through to 7th was all actually equal on 2 wins, 2 losses, and it come down to the first tiebreaker, which was opponent's score or strength of schedule. I'd change a few things. I'd probably move guard onto a Blitzra. I'd probably put guard break tackle on a Tomb Guardian instead of guard stand firm.
I think you want 2 block Tomb Guardians. Just straight off the bat, you want to be able to do safe actions early on in the turn, get them out of the way. If you don't have block on the Tomb Guardians, the first thing you still want to do is throw the blocks, but it's just not as safe.
And I did have probably all but our last game, I failed a 3 dice block with both downs.
Yeah.
So that it could be right. I don't know. It just gets a little bit, I suppose, expensive, and you can't quite fit as many skills. Like I've got 16 skills I think on the roster, which is a lot of skills. And the only reason I could get that many is because I don't have the doubles. If you start putting in 2 doubles, then you probably, you lose effectively 4 skills for the 2 doubles, but then you gain 1 back. So you lose 3 skills for the 2 doubles. But yeah, maybe that's correct. I don't know. I think they're actually not bad in the format because you can spend so much. You have $13.50 to spend.
Was dropping your skeleton ever an option? Going down to 11 players?
Yeah,
I think up the last guys, or
I think it could have been, but at the same time, it was sort of there for those bashy matchups, which I didn't actually really face that many anyway. I got pretty fortunate in the amount of casualties I took, I suppose, but that was sort of the reasoning behind it, and it was also there for when I got up on numbers. Then there was a few games where I fouled a lot, and it paid off. Like I lost the Skellies, but I took their player off. So you'll take that. You'll take 40k for 120 any day of the week. That's value.
Definitely value.
Value right there. Yeah. So why don't we talk about the games we had, the games we went through. So your round 1 was against Kyle, and Kyle played Nurgle.
Yes, he played Nurgle. He had 2 Mighty Blow Claw warriors. He only had the 2 Pestigores, which made him a little bit slow. But all in all, probably a pretty solid list. Probably not the one I would have gone with. I prefer 3 Pestigores, 3 warriors. But, you just fit in what you can. He went to try and go bash heavy.
Yeah.
I was probably pretty lucky in the matchup. In first half, I tried to stall out and score an 8, but he forced me to score in my 7th, giving himself 2 turns to score, which he managed with 2 quick passes and a Rodder running into the end zone. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it was very, very difficult to stop. I think he got lucky to get there in the end. Going into the second half, it did look pretty bad for the Necro.
Yeah.
I was down to 8 players. He had a full list, and he was going to just grind me out for 8 turns. But the weather stepped in, and the sweltering heat sent 3 Nurgle warriors to the bin to rest for the half.
Ooh.
And then we set up at the kickoff table, and a thrown rock knocked out the beast of Nurgle as well.
So that's game right there.
Just about 8 turns of just doing not much for the Nurgle.
The Wolves would have run right.
Yeah, the dodge wrestle. I got into his backfield early, spilt the ball. I held on. I scored a bit early. I sort of just was doing the friendly route. I thought Kyle was a bit hard done by, so I scored and gave him 4 turns to score. Probably a bad idea because he could have gone 2-2. But again, he tried to push for the touchdown. This turn he failed, and I managed to sneak in another touchdown. Win at 3-1. Good start to the day, really.
3-1.
Yep.
And yeah, you took 2 cash in the end, and presumably a few knockouts.
Yeah, plenty of knockouts.
Yeah. My round 1 was the complete opposite of that. I lost 3-0. I played Jono and his Skaven. And look, Kemry v Skaven, he received, and I did exactly what I wanted to do, and that was I forced him to score in 2 turns. Because I think it could be very, very easy for Rats in particular with move 9 against Kemry to move the ball back and forth for 6-7 turns and then score.
You only need 4.
Really. 4. I mean, you could do 6 or 7 if you're not losing too many Rats, and then score and give the Kemry no chance of scoring in the first half. But I managed to force him to score early. His list was interesting. It only It had no reserves, no APO, but it had Hackflin.
The star, yep.
The star,
strength 3 gutter runner,
yeah,
yep.
the strength 3 gutter runner, which, I mean, it worked for him against Kemri. I mean, if I had done a few more cash, maybe the game could have gone differently. We ended up doing 3 cash each, but I think 2 of my 3 cash came like turn 7, turn 8 or turn 15, 16 of the game. But yeah, I basically thought it would come down to one roll, and it did. It come down to me picking the ball up for, he had kick on the list. It came down to me picking the ball up for a 4 after I forced him to score, and I fumbled it, and he got rats everywhere all around me.
Yep. 5 gutter runners on the pitch.
Five gutter runners on the pitch. They were all around the ball, so I had another chance to pick up the ball and attempt to get it safe, and I failed the second pick up again, and he scored again, 2-0. At 2-0 it's over, but pretty much the exact same thing happened again in the first half, which made it 3-0 at the end of the first half, received in the second half, and he managed to stop me from scoring when my numbers were down, but he also didn't score in the second half, so I guess if everything had gone to plan and I had to pick that ball up,
it's a completely
different game. But
you get that ball into a cage as Kemri, and Skaven aren't doing anything for 15 turns.
Nah.
You
just belt him.
You just belt him.
But it wasn't to be, and lost that one 3-0. So rough start to the day.
Absolutely
for me. And your round 2, you had to play Jono.
Yes.
Top table of round 2.
Absolutely. My game went quite well. I received and scored in 8 turns. Took all 8 turns. But
took the whole 8 turns.
I never had the ball outside of a cage. There was always 4 corners on there. He never had a crack at it.
Yeah.
Never had to dodge through any type of zones. I did only manage to get 1 rat off for the first half. I was blitzing with Mighty Blow tackle every turn, but those gutter runners hung around. But the only cash I managed was a rat ogre, turn 8.
Yeah.
And it was on his block, so I got pretty lucky there.
Yeah.
He gave up the shot at a 1-turn hit and blitzed with the rat ogre instead and failed it. The second half, I managed to screen well. He probably could have done something different, but decided to dodge through my line with the ball. 3+, 2+. I think felt unneeded to me, but he failed it. Again, I picked the ball up, got it in the middle of the cage, scored, going up 2-0. Didn't worry about the clock after that. Again, kicked the ball deep. The Wolves got on the backfield, and I ended up scratching another touchdown on the board. So 3-0. I mean, considering he's got no APO, I had a Mighty Blow tackler. Doing 2 cash was, not expected. I thought I could have racked up maybe 5 or 6 in that game.
Yeah.
I did
you
a
get
lot.
Many knockouts?
No, not at all. Didn't do much damage at all. I felt like he was manning me up, but got the result in the end. So what else to complain about?
Yeah, that's all that matters. So you're 6 touchdowns, scored 0, conceded round 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Now it's conceded 1 in the first game.
Oh, you just conceded 1. So conceded 1. Necro OP.
Movement 8 Wolves just all over the pitch.
Please no. Movement 8. My round 2, I played Maroe. Steve. I played Steve. And he was vampires. He had 5 vamps. I think 2 of them were wrestle dodge. 1 was block dodge, and then there's 2 guard. Block guard. The block guard was actually a nightmare.
Good against Kemri, absolutely.
It was a nightmare for Kemri. I feel like against most other people, it's probably overkill. But
he's dealing with strength 5 if you've got guard.
Yeah, dealing with the Tomb Guardians was so easy for him. But he sort of vamps. The nature of vamps is you're going to roll a lot of dice. You got to roll a die before they even do anything. And fortunately for me, I sort of just sat there and watched him roll lots of 1s. And the first half was pretty tight. I think it was 1-1. He scored relatively early, and then I managed to score back on him. I think I was a little bit fortunate in scoring the touchdown back on him. He was sort of failing things left, right, and center. Start of the second half, he made the decision to bite. He was sort of down on players. He hadn't yet used his leader reroll, and I blitzed his leader, stunned him, and he failed a bloodlust, and he decided to bite the leader thrall that was already on the ground, and he ended up knocking him out or catching him. Either way, he lost the leader reroll.
Or 70k.
Yeah, he lost the leader, which I mean, it was probably a mistake. His reasoning was that because he was already down that player for that turn, and that the way the game was situated, he decided that it was better to bite the player that was already down to give him more players to move for the turn. Ended up not paying off for him, I guess. That
reroll is invaluable.
Yeah.
You can't go around biting leaders.
I think I knocked out 2 vamps at the end of the first half, and no, I knocked out 3 vamps, at the end of the first half, and only 1 came back. Yeah. So that made a big difference for the second half.
Yeah,
he was down a lot of players. I did 4 cash in the end and ended up winning that one 2-1. But
I think his problem with his list is he didn't have kick.
Yeah.
Which is, in my opinion, the most important skill on a vampire list.
Yeah.
I mean, vampires need to win the game in the first half. You know, if you go into the second half, you're down on TDs, you lose a couple of thralls, you're just not going to be able to move your vamps anywhere. Yeah. You're not going to be able to screen, you're not going to be able to make stops. You just need to be able to win the first half. And kick does that for you.
Yeah, fair enough. So you can position the ball closer or further away depending on the team you're playing. Always closer, and you always, I suppose, with that hypno gaze, you can just run right. Yeah. Yeah, so I managed to finally get on the winners board with Camry, and I feel like kick is also so good against Camry. If I didn't have kick-off return against Jono had kick on his Skaven in that first round. Yeah. If I didn't have kick-off return, I think I lost that game 6-0. Yeah. Because I think the first 2 kicks, I wouldn't even have been able to get next to the ball if I didn't have kick-off return. So it was just, it was ridiculous against Camry.
With kick on my list as well, in the first game it was not as useful. I did like the kick deep, but then he managed to score in 2. But in the second game against Skaven, I kicked short every time. The only thing he could do was hand off back in the backfield, which left a gutter runner so far back on the next turn that he was useless.
Yeah.
You know, if you kick short to the edge teams, it allows you to pressure the ball. You kick long against the strength teams, it means they've got less players to guard the ball or lay hits.
And less time if they're slower.
It just lets you dictate how to play the game.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty underrated skill.
Yeah.
Pretty underrated.
Makes the one turn for Skaven, makes it very hard for them to score. I mean, they've got to throw the ball, they don't extra 2 dice in there.
Yeah.
It's better than them just having to pick it up.
Yeah, absolutely. So coming into round 3, you're undefeated. There was one other undefeated coach, I believe, who you played. I think Morgan was undefeated. I think he was a win and a draw, or a win and a 2 wins.
2 wins.
2 wins, and he was Pro Elves.
Yes, Pro Elves. So it was the first time I've seen Morgan in a tournament. He just came out of the game. Come back to the game. His last tournament was 2006.
10 years out.
10 years out and hadn't played a game in the meantime. Not even casual game.
Not even one.
Not even one.
That's impressive.
But, I mean, he didn't even show it. He sat down, he showed me his list, and it was close enough to what I would take.
Yeah.
Pro Elf list with Leap, Strip Ball, and a Blitzer. It's got to have. Must have on any Elf team is Leap. You're going to give him Strip Ball because he's going to cover most actions. But he didn't have the optimum list. He didn't have a second blitzer.
Okay, yeah, you probably want that second blitzer.
Yeah, and he didn't max out on his block. He only had another block lineman. Didn't have a block catcher at all. So he only had 2 block and 1 wrestle. I just don't think that's enough in any list, in any format. Block and wrestle, most important skills.
Yeah.
You know.
So what do you like to go? More dodge, or did he max dodge?
We maxed dodge. Pro Elves, were they on the 3 or were they 2-1?
I can't remember actually.
Actually, they must be. No, they're 2-2.
I think they're
Tier 1. Sorry.
I think they're Tier 1.
Yeah, so we only had 2 dodge, which is not too bad because the list that he allowed him to take 4 rerolls.
Yeah,
so a bit of proxy dodge on the movement side of things. Not as much protection. He did have 12 players, so he didn't do too bad.
12 players.
12. No APO. But most importantly, that Leap Strip Ball Blitzer was fantastic.
Yeah.
So my first half played it fantastically, if I do say so myself. Had guard
win one tournament.
Guard on the corners at the end of every turn. I mean, it was always throwing 2 dice uphill, even on the Leap Blitz.
Which is how you need to play.
How you need to play
the Leap Blitz.
Yeah. I did. I wanted to try and get that Leap Blitzer off, but I just couldn't manage it. He just was either nowhere near the action, which was well positioned, or he was I couldn't get him off at all.
Yeah.
Managed to score in 8. He set up for the 1-turn touchdown. Did his blitz and it was a skull power, so he couldn't complete it.
Couldn't do it. Yeah.
So that was good. I thought I did as well as I could in that. Start of the second half, he scores in 2, as Pro Elves do.
Yeah.
Best team at doing so.
Yeah.
He threw the ball, caught it on a 2+ and steal, and just walked it in the end zone. Couldn't stop it. I sort of got an inkling to how he was sort of playing though. Sort of just that flat out scoring role, which I didn't really want him to do at all. I thought he was going to try and screen me off a bit with the list that he had. But he did manage to score quite easily.
So he just rushed as many pros down there as he could.
Exactly.
Threw the ball.
Just threw the ball.
You can only blitz one of the receivers. Yeah.
So I'm receiving coming in. Kicks it pretty deep. I managed to get both the guard. I managed to get a guard on one side. Didn't get a complete screen though, and he gets a 1 dice elite blitz.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a block dodge ghoul. I'm not too happy with it. I'm not, too upset. Yeah, not too upset with that. But he manages to pound me down.
It's always going to happen.
And he stunned the ghoul as well, so he got that. And the ball was a bit of a scramble for a turn. But with that stunned sure hands ghoul down, I couldn't pick it up. He managed to get it and score in, going 2-1 up.
Yeah.
I'm receiving. I've got about 4 turns left. I just do a wolf handoff and score in 2. I thought to myself that I could hold off, just go for the 2-2 draw, but it was such a great game, so well positioned by both coaches, and he was down to just 1 catcher, so I thought that I might be able to just stop him from scoring at least, maybe turn it into a TD, go into the last round 3 wins.
Yeah.
As it turns out, I did manage to blitz his catcher down, took 5 dice. So it was 2 dice with the wolf, 2 dice with the wolf, and then 1 dice with the zombie. And the zombie got him down on the power. And then I just swarmed his last receiver. He only moved 2 guys into receiving, but he was down some players then.
Yeah.
He went to throw a long bomb into the end zone with a thrower. Thrower didn't want to do it. Didn't drop it on the spot with safe throw, so he held on to it.
Yeah.
I sort of had an opening, 2 players in range to score. Blitzed the ball carrier. Ball spills, and one of his players caught it. So game over, 2-2. Can't be upset with it though. It was such a tight game. Props to Morgan for his first tournament back. Very, very good opponent.
He ended up finishing 3rd as well. So he definitely had a good tournament. And I think that was the only game. I think he lost his last game.
Lost his last game.
But he lost. So he was 2 wins, a draw, and a loss. So which is
pretty damn good.
Not going to complain with that for your first tournament back after 10 years. So my round 3 was against Kyle, who James played round 1. The Nurgle. It was always going to be a tough matchup. It was always going to be terrible.
Yeah,
it's not going to be a great game. Nurgle v Camry.
I think if you lose 1 Tomb Guardian early, if you lose 2 Tomb Guardians, you're done.
Yeah. But actually, last time I played Kyle at Mayhem was round 2. He was Chaos Dwarves. He ended up winning the last Mayhem with Chaos Dwarves. And I was Chaos, and I had a Claw Mighty Blow Chaos Warrior. And it was, I think, my first round. It didn't really matter. I won it. Didn't really sort of do that much. But second round, Claw Mighty Blow, Armor Knight. I'm going, here we go. This is the game. And the kickoff table decided to throw a rock at that guy and cash him, and I had no APOF in the list, and it was him done.
That's the game.
But this time around, we also had another throw rock, Kyle and I, and it decided to hit a Nurgle Warrior. Turn 1 of the game.
Nurgle Warriors.
So he was now playing with 3 Nurgle Warriors, and I received.
That's a 2-skill Nurgle Warrior. That's 150k.
That is a lot of team value to just go in the bin for nothing for the kickoff table for the roll of an 11, and then me rolling high. We had equal fame, so me rolling. I think I rolled a 5 and he rolled a 4. one pip difference. But yeah, I had a really crucial turn in the first half. I had the decision to play it safe and make a cage where he could stand up. The cage would have been with a Tomb Guardian on one of the corners, and he could have blitzed that Tomb Guardian with his beast. which would have...
Then man up the ball carrier.
And then man up the ball carrier. I could have done all that and it would have been a really safe turn. I wouldn't have had to have rolled many dice. I took a little bit of time with this turn and I made the decision I could actually make a cage just that one step in front of the Tomb Guardian. So the Tomb Guardian would have been here and then the corner of the cage would have been here. And
to stop him from
manning up the ball carrier, because I feel like as soon as if his beast ever manned up the ball carrier, it was game over. I wouldn't be able to score that half. And it took, I think every player had to go for it twice, except for the ball carrier had to go for it once. So I had to roll a lot of dice to do it. It ended up working, and that pretty much got me the TD from that, because he then couldn't blitz with... He had a Chaos, a Nurgle Warrior and the Beast manning up that Tomb Guardian, so all he could do was stand both of them up. And like you said, with the TV and the bin, that's a lot of team value to just stand up for a turn. And one of the Nurgle Warriors had guard as well, so that was sort of another thing that was causing a little bit of havoc with Strength 4 and guard. He was getting some blocks in. He couldn't do that turn. I managed to sort of essentially almost not even cage him off. I screened him off, and it got to a point where I think he failed something in a turn really early on, which let me just walk down for a turn and sort of gave me a free turn. At which point he elected to not worry about the ball anymore, which was probably the right choice. He tried to hurt a few players before the end of the half. Didn't manage to do it. I scored, went in 1-0 up. Start of the second half, I mean, it comes down to, at the end of the day, whether you want to win the game or you want to draw the game.
Yeah, sure.
Kyle elected that he wanted to try and win the game, so he pushed early, scored early. Then I managed to score back on him. I was sort of pushed a little bit hard too. I think he scored on like turn 4 or 5. So he definitely could have elected to try and just hold out for the 1-1. And I think he probably would have been able to. Just the way the game was positioned, I couldn't really do much. He'd sort of broken through, and I feel like once Khemri get broken through that first little line, they're not going to turn the ball over. They're sort of not going to be able to. They just can't do it. They don't have the tools to do it.
Once they get around the Tomb Guardians.
Yeah, that's sort of it. But yeah, I managed to push. I think I had to throw the ball to score.
Khemri's dream.
Which is what Khemri do for a living. They love that shit. They eat that up. But yeah, managed to come away with the 2-1 win and put me on 2 wins and a loss, which is
not bad
for Khemri, given the caliber of coaches and sort of teams I had to play.
Absolutely.
So, but coming into round 4, we end up meeting.
Playing down on this one?
We ended up playing. And I've got to say, that's probably the best game of recent Blood Bowl I've had. Those last two, the game against Kyle and the game against you in that last game. I'm not just saying that because he's here. I don't like him at all. We were probably the best 2 games of Blood Bowl I've had recently. They were just good Blood Bowl games. They weren't sort of, you didn't just sit there and watch your opponent roll dice and go, well, that sucked. Or you didn't just sit there and roll dice and your opponent goes, well, that sucked.
Yeah,
So,
I don't think like either has had terrible luck or like over the top luck.
Nah.
I mean, one
Not
turn,
at all.
but other than that, nothing different. So.
And what happened in that game?
So I kicked to the Khemri, kicked it deep, hoping they wouldn't pick up the ball. They managed to pick up the ball, but we started playing some good defense. The guard from the Necro team really put in hard work.
Yeah, the guard.
You got a guard Fleshy, a guard Ghoul, and a guard White, and they were in and amongst it.
Yeah.
Having 2 extra guard will allow my Fleshies to get 2 dice blocks on Tomb Guardians when I need to.
Yeah. Especially the mobile guard.
Especially the mobile guard. I
yeah.
didn't know going in if it was going to be that good. I wanted to max out on guard, and I didn't have a player to put it on, so I thought, you know what, guard dodge, it's always going to be good, get where I want it to. But he was in and amongst it, and he was great.
Yeah. So you could take doubles on a player in this format too. So you could take, I don't think we mentioned that, you could take 2 normal skills on a player or 1 double skill.
So the Ghoul got guard. Coming into about the 3rd turn, the Khemri had moved their cage into the middle of the field.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a scrap.
Yeah.
Just a lot of bodies everywhere. And with a good blitz from a flesh golem, I was able to man up the ball carrier.
Yeah.
and that was a pretty crucial turn.
Yeah.
Because it meant that he was either going to have to dodge or blitz him free.
Yeah.
In the end, you elected for the...
Yeah, I elected for the dodge, which is... It's a 4+. I think I had the reroll.
You had the reroll.
But I think that was the right choice, just given how everything was positioned, because even if I blitzed the flesh golem...
You haven't gone anywhere.
And didn't knock him down, I still had to dodge. If I blitzed the flesh golem and knocked him down, I didn't actually make myself safe. No. I didn't go, like you said, I wasn't going anywhere with the ball anyway, so... The blitz I did sort of gave me a spot for my throw ra to get to if I made the dodge. And I think if I made the dodge, I score.
You will score.
I think if I made the dodge, I score. Failed the dodge and it became a scrap.
Yeah.
Just a big scrap.
6 turns of knocking each other around, spilling the ball. I think I picked it up once.
Yeah, I think you picked it up and then I knocked it loose. Yeah. And then I picked it up like every turn then, and you knocked it loose every turn then.
Yeah, the rest of Wolves were everywhere.
Yeah.
You just couldn't escape them.
Nah. But eventually I did get the ball from one throw ra to the other throw ra with a lot of fours. There was a lot of fours involved. And you failed to knock that throw ra down.
Certainly did.
Push. And I think that was a slight misplay because you, rather than blitz with the ghoul, you blitzed with the blitz with the wolf. You blitzed with
a blitz with the ghoul.
I think you should have, because you didn't have a reroll at that stage.
No.
I think you should have blitzed with the wolf to give you the frenzy.
Yep.
The push. But
I think we decided in hindsight.
Yeah, we decided in hindsight that would have been better. There was a reason why you blitzed with the ghoul though.
The ghoul was in a tackle zone, so would have had to dodge to blitz. So the wolf wasn't in a tackle zone, so he could man up the ball carrier and at least have some sort of defense. Yeah. So that if the dodge failed, then at least you still have to roll some dice.
Yeah.
As it went down, I rolled double pushes, so the frenzy would have been good. The frenzy wrestle would have been really good, but it wasn't to be.
No, and that was the key sort of deciding thing was if you failed the dodge, trying to man up the thrower with the ghoul. Then I just walked away.
Yeah,
and I think I would have. I think I was in range, so I think I could have just scored.
Yeah.
But walking the wolf over there, you didn't have to roll any dice. It was guaranteed that I would have had to have at least blitzed the wolf or dodged away from the wolf. But yeah, as it stood, eventually I got the ball within like 4, maybe no, it would have been about 3 squares from the end zone. Yeah. Turn 7, you knocked me down, but that's all you could do was knock me down, and I think you had 2 tackle zones on the ball, or 1. I think you had 2 tackle zones on the ball. I could blitz one of them.
Yep.
And I still could stand up the player that had the thrower that had lost the ball, and he could still stand up and hopefully pick the ball up and score. I elected to knock your player onto the ball and try and get it. It could have. There was 4 good spaces it could have gone, a couple of great spaces it could have gone, and then a couple of bad spaces that it could have gone. It went to one of the great spaces where all I had to do was pick the ball up for 4 and make 2 go for it.
Yep.
Picked the ball up for a 4, which was the bane of my existence for pretty much the entire tournament. So I was walking it in, rolled a 2 for the first go for it. That's all you need, and then rolled a 1 for the second go for it with no reroll. So fell down in the end zone. You couldn't have scored on your turn 8. You had no one in range. And then we went into the second half.
Yep. Bit of a different story in the second half.
Yeah, a bit of a big difference.
Yeah, so super tight in the first half. Positioning as well. It's a bit of a scrap. The start of the second half, short kick, landed on a Wolf's head. He caught it. Yeah. I managed to set a screen in Liam's backfield straight away. So turn 1, he was already on the back foot. I had a Wolf within scoring distance. And then he starts with his first turn. First action was a block with a Tomb Guardian.
Yeah, to try and position and get some players at least near your screen. And it was a double skull.
Yep.
Which is probably not the way.
And then you re-rolled.
And then I re-rolled it. And,
a couple of pushes.
Pushed you, and then went for the next block, which I think was with a blitzer. Yep. And it was another double skull. So it's sort of...
As the first action, he was just completely out of position.
Yeah.
Had no one manned up, no one close to me.
Yeah.
I just moved the screen further down the field, and there was about 6 turns.
Yeah.
Of 6 turns of just getting away from Kemmery, but they just couldn't keep up.
I was trying to put pressure on, but the Wolves were just too fast, and you ended up scoring.
There was one crucial error you did make. At one of the moments with the screen, you could have blitzed the screener. Which if you get me down, if you stun me at all, you force me to score next turn, and you would have had 4 turns to score. Yeah. Instead, you elected to do the much more risky option, the dodge through the screen and blitz the ball carrier. Which, I mean, if it comes off, you can recover the ball, you can go down the other end, and you can look at scoring. As the way it went, you failed the dodge. Yeah,
it was only 1 5+.
It was only one.
Oh, well, 1 6. It was it was a 4 because it was with a Tomb Guardian.
It was just a 4.
Yeah.
It was with a Blitzer.
Wasn't it with the Tomb Guardian too?
No, not that one.
Oh, that was the other one. Yeah, sorry. No, that one was right. Yeah, you're right. It was with the Blitzer.
Yeah, so he just failed the Blitzer, and then I just managed to just sit on the end of the end zone until I had to score on turn 7. He did pressure me to score on turn 7, giving him 2 turns.
Yeah. I guess the only reason I did that blitz was because rather than I could have blitzed you and gone for a draw, but I tried to blitz the ball carrier and go for the win. Yeah. Because if I knock you down, then if you score, I've got no chance of winning.
There's no way Kemmery can score 2 touchdowns.
Especially not in 3 turns or whatever it would have been at that stage. But you did give me 2 turns to score.
Yeah, you did force me to score.
I did. I think I had enough Tomb Guardians, and because I did have the couple of break tackles.
The break tackle Tomb Guardian, he can get anywhere he wants. Yeah. You know, it's very, very hard to slow him down. So if he's in range,
there's only so many squares you can get to the end zone until you've got to go in the end zone.
That's exactly right.
So he gave me 2 turns to score, and we almost did it.
Almost.
We almost did it. We got to the stage where it was a throw into the end zone.
So Blitzer standing there waiting with his hands open.
Standing there waiting. I just pretty much rushed down. I think it was 4 players, 2 Scullies, 2 Blitzer. I just rushed them down, threw them down there, picked the ball up with the throw, which was probably one of the harder things to do as well. 4+. There's such a big difference rolling a 3 to pick up a ball or dodge than a 4. Such a big difference. But anyway, and you could only man up and blitz so many. I think you made a mistake in that you blitzed one of the receivers, which was obvious. You had to blitz one of them, but then you sort of manned up more heavily on the side that I had the thrower. You committed too heavily to one side rather than sort of looking at the other side as well. And I think it was relatively easy for me to get the thrower free too. I just blitzed with a break tackle Tomb Guardian and hit you for 3 dice and moved you out of the way, only needing pushes. But yeah, we couldn't make the short pass.
No, that 5+.
5+ just wasn't meant to be. I shouldn't have gone for it. I rolled a 6 to go for it to get it within a short pass. If I had just thrown the ball from where I was, I scored, because then I rolled 4s after that.
And he would have ruined my day, and I wouldn't have won the tournament.
Yeah, but in the end, Jim Fyn with the monumental effort with Necro to win the tournament pretty cleanly. 3 wins and a draw. It's not bad for 4 games. We had 10 players in the end, so it was a pretty decent
good tournament. I mean, if you get 8 or more at a Victorian tournament,
we're pretty good. We've got a very big league down in Victoria in the Melbourne
30 coaches, MBBL.
Yeah, but they're just not as interested in tournaments, which is a bit of a shame. But I mean, that's why you have leagues and tournaments, because it appeals to both to all people. People like a bit of both. In second, we had Jono on the Skaven. He finished with 3 wins and a loss.
Only lost to me.
Only lost to you, so that was a fair effort from him. As we said before, Morgan in third, myself in fourth. We had Shadow on Dark Elves in fifth.
Which is probably the best list on the day.
Yeah, I really liked that list. I really thought he would probably do a bit better. Him and Jono had the most casualties too. They had 15 apiece with Darkies and Skaven. And that's pretty ridiculous.
Considering the Darkies bring no Mighty Blow, no Bash Skills.
No.
I guess just the way he plays, he was just maximising blocks.
Yeah, he must have just...
And got pretty lucky, probably.
Well, hey, I'd rather be lucky than good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then we had Kyle with the Nurgle in 6th. We had Popey with the High Elves in 7th.
Yeah.
His high elf list also had Zara, I believe.
Oh, I didn't see his list.
Yeah, I think he had.
He did have Zara.
I'm pretty sure he had Zara. So he had high elves with Zara.
Yep.
So that was an interesting list. Then we had Zach, who was also a fresh face to tournaments.
Yep.
I'm not sure if he's been in any other tournament. He's played Blood Bowl before, but he hasn't played for a while.
Yeah, I've spoken to him online a couple of times, but nothing further than that.
Yeah, so he had Chaos and ended up in 8th. Steve with the Vamps in 9th. He had a bit of a rough time of it.
It can be one of those teams that, if you start rolling ones, you just
I think
have a long
he still had a win, 2 draws and a loss.
Yeah.
So that's not bad. It's just there was a lot of sort of games that I think he lost he didn't win because he was Vamps. Not he lost.
It was the first time we played Vamps as well.
Yeah.
And it's not as difficult as some other strategies, but it's definitely a new strategy that, if you haven't played often.
Yeah. And then we had Pat and 10th with the humans.
Yeah.
So we also have, for those that don't know, we're from Victoria in Australia, and we have sort of 3, I guess, prominent Blood Bowl regions in Victoria, being Melbourne, Ballarat and Geelong. And so what do we have it at? 3 tournaments?
3 tournaments.
3 tournaments. We have it at Gold Crush, which is a Ballarat tournament. We have it at Mayhem, which is the Geelong tournament. And then we have it at Blocktober, which is the one of the Melbourne tournaments, probably the more popular one. Yeah. Probably gets more people go along to it. We have the Tri-City Cup, or the Tri-Wizard Cup, as some people call it. And we nominate 3 coaches from each of the regions, and we add up where they finish on the day. So obviously the higher place finish is better because the lowest score takes home the Tri-City Cup.
Yeah.
And for the second time running, Geelong managed to take it.
Yep.
So we had Morgan, who's from Geelong as well, enlisted in the Geelong team, plus James and myself. So we ended up with a score of 8, which was like 11.
Yeah.
11 ahead of Ballarat, which came second.
Yeah,
so.
First and fourth, it's just
you're gonna win it. So that was
the first time that one of the places took it 2 in a row. So Geelong with 2 in a row.
Geelong with 2 in a row. That's the first time one of the regions has taken it twice in a row.
Yeah.
And I think if we went at Blocktober, we actually have our name on it the most.
Yes.
I think everyone has their name on it 3 times at the moment.
Yeah.
So whoever wins the next one will be able to claim they are the best region at the moment. So that was Mayhem. It's a fun tournament. It's a fun format.
Yeah, it's good for almost every race.
Yeah, which is
you've got 1350. Yeah, 1350. You can buy what you want. We haven't yet seen someone take a dwarf list or a wood elf list yet. They're probably still going to be the most powerful in the format, but it just limits their strength. I mean, with woodies you can take an extra. You can only have 2 dodge.
Yeah.
With the dwarves you limit because they've only got 2 guard, 2 mighty blow.
Yeah.
I mean, they've still got the options there. You've still got 1350 to spend, so there's a
lot you can buy. Yeah. And I think that was what we set out to do with the tier system.
You can play what you want.
Sort of have the teams that maybe aren't as good, try and bump them up a little bit so you can play whatever you want and still feel competitive. I mean, at the end of the day, the way Blood Bowl is designed is there are going to be teams that aren't going to be quite as good as all the other teams, but sometimes you want to take those teams and not just write the day off as well, I know I'm going to lose all the games, but I'm going to have fun. Yeah. Instead, you can bring goblins and go, I might do okay with some of the games. So that's sort of the idea behind that. Yeah. So that's probably going to be our wrap up of Mayhem on Malop Street, which is usually around August, September. Yeah. I think we had we've run it 3 years now, and that was the 3rd year just gone. Then we had the first 2 were in August. This one was in September, just because the venue we have it at couldn't have it in August the times we wanted, so we just had it a little bit later.
Still works.
So come down if you can. It's a fun tournament. But that's probably going to do it for episode 1, I think. Yeah. Of Quick Snap. What a name! We just came up with it, and I think it's a great name.
Yeah,
personally,
absolutely.
I think it's an awesome name. So if you have any comments or questions or whatever, feel free to write in, or this is going to go up on YouTube, so feel free to comment on YouTube. You can send us an email.
If you want us to talk about anything,
if you want to talk about anything, want us to talk about anything in particular, or you want to send in, maybe you have lists in that Mayhem format and you want to sort of write one up, send it to us. We can critique it. You can tweet at me. I've got Twitter, and I'm on there fairly often. My Twitter will be in the description below. I'll put an email in the description below. I don't know what email we'll use.
We'll figure it out.
Probably just my email, which is probably, I think it's already in the description below.
We'll just figure it out.
Yeah. So feel free to write in about whatever you like, and we'll talk about it.
There will be different segments week to week, or however often we post.
Yeah, hopefully once a week. Yeah. Hopefully, in an ideal world. We don't always live in an ideal world, but hopefully it's going to be once a week. So that's going to be it for now. From Quick Snap. What a name. So this is Nubs signing out.
Jim Fyn.
Take care.